town you never heard of. Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
That's Burgett.
There he is.
I like his stuff. I really do. And I'm not just saying that because he provided us with a little intro there, you know.
It's a good one.
He is good.
In a town you've never heard of.
And that, like, paints a pretty good picture of my upbringing.
And where we're at right now.
Yeah. Dirt road, the whole 9 yards.
Yep, good dude. We've been working with him for a couple of years now. He's from Illinois, farm kid from Illinois.
Yeah. But that song, it sounds like, did you help him with those lyrics, Ben?
I didn't.
Did you help him write that?
No, I didn't.
Because, I mean, it is like where we're at right now. That's what he's describing.
It fits perfect.
Yeah.
I talked to him about using some of his stuff for the podcast, and he was all about it, and that song was the right one. So
you're getting cuts from that.
Some big timers.
Some money from
Eric.
I mean, he probably should be getting money.
I know, I'm kidding.
Yeah, which way does this way go? I saw he did that tour last year. You know, he was trying to find small towns you never heard of. And I tried to throw our hat in the ring, like, come on, Plattsmouth, come on, brother. Yeah. And he goes, well, I'm loaded up this year, so I think if we make a pretty good push at him, maybe we can convince him to, you know, come to Plattsmouth or Murray. So, you know, get him in the area at least. He's got to come to Nebraska.
He said he would definitely come, and his touring is like getting bigger and bigger. So
nice.
He'll be close at some point.
Yeah, when he comes, then he's got to come here.
Oh, he has to.
Got to record. He could sing the intro live.
Ooh, yeah.
That'd be cool.
That'd be sweet.
No, he's too good. He's too good. You know he's going to explode here. Like one of those
Yeah.
songs, they're all good. Like my top 10 of his. You listen to those and like, that could be a hit. You know, that could be on any radio station around here. So you know it's just kind of if he keeps grinding, like we always talk about, he's going to hit it big, no doubt. So
he's released a lot of new singles lately too, and they're all pretty good stuff. His like main thing is piano, and you can hear the piano in that intro, you know, that we're using there.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Speaking of piano, last night we went to a concert.
Yep, we did.
We're feeling a little, Andy.
I wasn't going to say you guys look rough.
No, I look like a hobo. You know, okay, so I'll talk to the ladies here. So you go to bed and didn't take off the makeup, and then you wake up and you kind of just still don't really take it off, but kind of wipe it off with a Neutrogena wipe, and shit, now we're here. It was good, though. Anyways, about the piano, Morgan Wallen came out up from the stage. On the piano.
Yeah, like
that was his
the
opener.
Piano came up through the stage. That's
with
cool.
him. It was
That's cool.
So it was a good. Hardy's good.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought it was great. They did a great job.
Just, you know, for all my friends and stuff on social media, it looked like everybody went to that concert. And then you guys told me before we got on, like, yeah, we were there. That's what we were doing last night.
Oh, yeah.
We don't go to a lot of concerts.
No.
And I expected it to actually be like way bigger as
Right.
far as like the arena.
Uh-huh. Where was it?
It was downtown at that CHI or whatever they call it now.
Okay,
Is that what
yeah.
they call it?
Yeah.
CHI, Chai.
CHI Health Center and Event Center.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they've got a bunch of, I don't know, like arenas in that place.
Uh-huh.
You
Yep,
know, so it
yep,
was
yep.
in one of them.
Okay.
It might have even been.
Was it where the basketball court?
Yeah,
I think it
Yeah,
was
that's
in
where a
that
lot
one.
of them go.
Yeah.
You actually reminded me, you were talking about the piano coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And this was years and years ago, but I saw a similar thing, same place, and it was Kid Rock. Like, say what you will about Kid Rock, but that dude's talented.
Oh,
he played the piano. He got back on drums. They did one of those seamless handoffs from his drummer. He, of course, playing guitar, hammering that out. I think he even got on like a saxophone or something. Like, that dude played every, you know, I'm like, this guy can do it.
It's funny that you say that because I was thinking about that last night, and what I was saying wasn't that big. It is. The thing is big, but we don't go to a lot of concerts, and I was just thinking like it felt like it was more intimate than what I expected, which was cool.
Yeah.
But you talk about Kid Rock. I felt like I was watching Kid Rock in one way or another when Hardy was playing.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he was
The
very,
entertainment
very
was-
Kid Rockish.
Yeah.
Yeah. like kind of like with like the rapping and
Oh, really?
the rock
Okay.
and the
So
country.
good.
He's
like
just
the
blending
whole,
it all together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
bringing it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Kid Rock gets a bad rap, just because he looks like kind of scuzzy and his name's Bob, But that dude capitalized. Like, he's the only guy that you hear on a country station, a rap station, a hip hop station,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. Easy listening. I heard that song he did with Sheryl Crow on an easy listening Christian. I'm like, Kid Rock's on like Spirit 92.9 or whatever it is. Like, that's unbelievable when you think about it. Like, that dude, I mean, credit to Kid Rock. Not that he needs any patronizing from us.
Yeah, I like Kid Rock. Too. He's good.
Well, we had damn good seats.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
were pretty good.
Like row 7, a little intimate.
Right on the side.
Right
of
on
the
the
stage,
side. It was
Mm-hmm.
freaking
Nice.
awesome.
Well, if
So
you're gonna do
good.
it, do it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to one of my buddies who his wife's a big Pink fan.
Okay.
And so, like, when she does a big show and a big tour, they just go all out. They'll drop $2,000 per ticket to get right there and enjoy it. And he goes, we do one concert every 4 years, but when we do it, and
Do it big.
yeah, go
Yeah,
big.
we're not huge concert people. Like some people really are.
Mm-hmm.
We enjoy them. But
I like this. Like we've done some of the smaller ones, like at some bar or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I really like those. I didn't, but the one last night I liked it more than I thought I would. It was
it
pretty
was
cool.
so good.
And for Ashley and I, our wheelhouse is that 90s, early 2000s alternative rock, alternative. And so those bands, they're not so big anymore. So they are playing those smaller venues, and you can go to 2 or 3 of them in a summer. And it's like, man, this was the stuff I grew up, high school, college, it takes you back, and it's that more intimate setting. So
Yeah.
it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
cool.
you guys cracked a course here. I am
Had to.
not. I think I was drunk when I woke up. Is that possible?
That's hungover, right? That's
No, but I think I was still
you were still drunk.
This
Wow.
morning, early.
that must have been a good
But
concert.
we didn't go
you
to
guys.
bed till 2.
Night owls.
So when we woke up at 8, 9, I was like standing up thinking, am I hungover? Am
What-
I drunk?
So when you went to bed, do you remember like laying down and looking up at the ceiling and it was spinning? Like when I'm spinning, I know
Yeah.
we had a good one. We had a good one.
So I should have had a liquid IV last night,
Ah.
but I sucked it down this morning, and I hate the taste of those, but I do think they work.
Well, it's the flavor that we have probably is what you don't
It's
like.
strawberry.
There's a lot
It's
of different
nasty.
ones, but
Anyways, so hair of the dog.
Yep.
I'm not. I'm drinking some coffee,
I have coffee over
water.
here too.
Oh, you have coffee.
Yes,
Wow.
I do.
I'm trying to drink my headache away.
Oh, you got a Red Bull too? Oh my God, you guys. If you could just see this picture right now.
And I've got a goodies powder.
Oh, do you even know what that is?
I have no idea. What
It looks
what
like
is that?
It looks like cocaine.
Yeah, when he said that, I mean that's kind of what
I mean, you
a
could
feeling
put
I
it on the
got.
table.
We
and
we lived
no, don't do that. But do it line.
we lived in Tennessee for a while, and that type of thing is big down there. There's goodies, and there's what's the other one? BC.
Some
Okay, so it's an aspirin, but kind of a hopped up one.
Yeah, and it's as a powder.
So you put it in your drink or what?
I put it under my tongue.
put it under your tongue.
Oh
You
wow,
don't. I don't think that's how they advertise it, but that's what I do,
that's what people do.
and it
goes-
goes straight to you and
Boom.
knocks a headache
Yeah.
out. Like
Well, yeah, you think about taking an aspirin, you're swallowing that, you got to wait for your stomach to digest it, then for it to get to
Yeah.
where it needs to go. This
Yeah.
is just a straight shot, right? So do you snort this?
no, it looks like something you could. Though. They can't. These ones they've changed it because I bet you they were getting a lot of like
Blow back.
weird messages and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was coming in like this little like square piece of paper that
On a
was
mirror?
folded up.
Literally just folded.
Yeah, and you would unfold it, and the powder would like be in this thing, and you would get it like in a straight line and pour it.
Dude,
and
that's wild.
Yeah, and they used to be because this one is what This is 680 milligrams. No, a little bit more, almost 700. They were 1,000 milligram.
Oh, man. So they backed it off almost half.
Yeah. So they cut it down.
They
quite
must
a
have
bit.
got in trouble.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we first saw that? Your
I
mom
remember when we
came
first saw it. Yeah.
and great aunt came and stayed at our house.
Okay.
We gave them our bed, like big bed, so that she was older.
Mm-hmm.
They left, and we see like white powder
In that paper
on the
folded up weird
nightstand.
paper
Yeah.
thing.
You're
he
like,
calls his mom's like, is she on?
does she get
crap?
down?
Like,
she likes
Yeah,
to get down.
This is my aunt. She was like 70 at the time
no,
or
like
something.
80 way
yeah.
old. I mean,
But that side of my family is very southern, and she was from Georgia. She was up from Georgia, and my mom was taking care of her.
Grandma likes to party.
But this is a southern thing,
Okay.
but it's kind of making its way here. You don't really see it,
No, that was
often,
the first I've seen it.
and they're big in NASCAR. So
I can see that.
Yeah.
Like you got to stay with it for 400 laps.
yeah, they
Right.
sponsor a lot of races and cars and shit.
yeah, they do.
That's
But-
But
hilarious.
the point is, this will knock out a headache.
Okay.
Well, you
it's
better shoot it up.
Gonna happen pretty soon.
Tell us when you take it.
But when I take it, I won't talk for a couple minutes because I just keep it under my tongue as long as I can,
Okay, so when he's
Let it-
silent.
and
Let
it
it
does not
dissolve and
We're
taste.
just gonna
It
let him
doesn't
go.
taste good. So
Oh,
But since
okay.
we're talking about drinks and food, well, we haven't really talked about food, but I did have to have a bagel this morning to soak up.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
there a good hangover? What do you do?
Okay, you got to go with grilled cheese, and Ashley has to do it. It has to be grilled cheese with tomato soup. Boom.
Really?
that's good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I wonder what
Yeah.
people would say is
You-
like if you had to figure out what your best hangover.
You got to use extra cheese. Don't go with that one slice. Go with two or whatever Ashley does, and then don't get the cheap tomato soup. You know, get the basil, all that the fun.
Oh,
big,
God.
you
Do
know,
you use fancy cheese or do you use like the slices, right? Like
Slices,
the Kraft, like
yeah.
the yeah.
Yeah,
That's him.
Yep. Yep.
That's
You
that.
got to have the cheap.
Yeah.
American
the processed, really
Kraft.
soft. Oh yeah. So it's like. It's like when you dunk that into your bowl, it's like melting and falling. Yeah, that will knock out. That'll put you back on your feet, and then you can get another silver bullet or two.
Do you
going.
put ham or anything on your grilled cheese, or is it just straight cheese?
I've had it that way, and I love it. You know, I'm not too picky of an eater. I'm really not. And what generally happens with that, those are the grilled cheeses after the holiday season. So when we have a half a ham just chilling
Oh.
in the refrigerator,
Yum.
Ashley will cut that up and she'll infuse that into our grilled cheeses. Yeah. And also that's the time where you're coming off a hangover for a good week and a half.
Yeah.
Family in, home,
My my go-to hangover food is a nasty cheeseburger
nice.
I knew you were going to say that if I
Yeah.
had to pick one.
with that Kraft cheese, egg,
So,
fried egg.
oh yeah, oh my God.
Bacon.
We have a local sports bar that does a really good one.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know you know.
yeah.
I love that. I love that fried egg. Do you do fried egg on
No,
it?
I've never even tried it. It just
So
is
good.
I don't like a runny egg in general.
Mm-hmm.
I like it over, what do you call it?
Like you usually
Like
like it over medium.
Okay, yeah.
probably.
There's
So
not runny.
you're like over easy. It's like running down your face
Yep.
and ooh, gross.
there's a local brewery that had a restaurant for a while, and they had just this monster, and I think it might have been called the Hangover.
Yeah, I think a lot of them have
Oh
gone
my
to that.
God, yeah, and it had the egg on it. I think it had peanut butter on the bottom bun. Like this thing was, I don't know, 3,000 calories in one,
Yeah.
one burger.
I was kind of thinking actually a Bloody Mary. Something about the tomato
it's
juice
pretty
with
good.
your tomato
Yep.
soup
Yep, I like that.
somehow sounds good. Okay, so you should have made me a bloody this morning.
Bloody buddy.
I don't really know how to make them.
Well, it can't be that hard, right?
No, just some vodka.
I mean,
yeah, some of that premixed
V8.
stuff. Yeah,
what's it called?
you're fine.
Yeah.
Throw some celery stick in there to mix it up.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
Olives. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're talking about food and drinks. Is that kind of the topic today?
That's what we were going to talk about today.
Well, are we going to get to this or?
We kind of have been getting to it.
I know, right?
What we
Just-
wanted to talk about was really just dining in America.
Right.
Eating in, eating out, taking out.
Well, yeah, and when you originally had this idea, we kind of had a way that we wanted to present it, and that's kind of morphed over the last couple of years. But I feel like it might be a more interesting topic now than ever, you know, and
Yeah.
we're getting into people's habits on how they consume their food.
Yeah.
You know, do you dine out? Do you order out? Do you let Uber Eats bring you your freaking cheeseburger with an egg on it? You know, like how are people getting their food, you know?
The original idea was everything was changing so much. Like I think we as a society we eat out a lot. I mean, I don't think we as a family eat out a lot, but as a society, there's a lot of eating out, and then the pandemic crap hit and everybody closed their dining rooms.
Right.
But they were doing takeout. And it was so interesting to me how all that was changing for families, and how much more takeout people were doing, or eating more at home, preparing more meals, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things that happened that I took notice of, and it really showcases how if your local lawmakers want to get something done, they can do it. Because there's a lot of restaurants that you go there for the drinks, not the food. The food's just the side part of it. Okay, so you could do carry out for food, but they're making their money by doing mixed drinks and Bloody Marys and such.
Yeah.
Well, just like overnight, oh yeah, you can go ahead and do mixed drinks carry out through the drive-through in Nebraska. Oh yeah.
Where was this?
That happened. It happened probably 3 or 4 weeks into the pandemic.
How did we miss this?
I didn't.
Okay.
I saw it.
Did you do that? Did you drive through
I
somewhere?
never got one because we don't, like I said, we don't really eat out that much. But I saw a lot of people doing that,
But
and
what do they do?
people were like leaving with.
You order your Jack and Coke.
But they secure it? You remember when you'd go get a bottle of wine? Or you would go to like a wine place, you could drink there with the ladies. This is what they would do. And then they would cork it and put something on it. So you're driving with not an open container. So what did they do?
So the couple times, the one time, I only tried it once.
Oh, okay.
Right.
It was in a styrofoam cup, carry-out cup, and just a lid on it, and then they hand you a straw. So it is closed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then right after that was a success and took off and saved some businesses, because that's what they do. They make drinks, not, food's the afterthought. It got voted on or re-upped to where it's just a thing now. So it's going to stay that way, I guess, for its entirety. You can always, places that have a carry-out or a drive-through, you can now order your mixed drinks here in Nebraska, that is.
I see a lot of people still doing it,
But,
carrying out those drinks.
And what about what if you just want a beer? Will they hand it to you?
The can.
But do they have to crack? Well, no, they don't crack it open. Like
No.
last night at the concert, they had to crack them open before
the
you got 'em.
bottles or whatever. And
Okay.
I don't know enough to really dive into it. I just know that you can do that.
Weird.
And it's going to stay that way because it was so popular. But my point was, you hear all this red tape. Well, we can't change it, or it's been that way, so we can't do this or that. No, you can. It really can. It can change in a matter of weeks if there's enough people behind it, demanding it, and businesses that are on the line that are going to go out of business if you don't make a change. So it's not impossible to pass a new bill or a new law or whatever the case may be. It's just for some reason we always think it is.
And you got to imagine there was probably a lot of heavyweights behind that too, because you look at like the liquor distributors as an example. I mean, they were getting kicked in their teeth.
Oh yeah.
When we had Doug in here and we were talking to him with
Cooper
Chase,
Yeah.
he was talking about how that changed his business, and how much it changed it, because people weren't going and sitting at the bar or the restaurant or whatever.
Yeah.
So I bet there was a lot of lobbying or whatever the case may be behind that.
Oh, yeah.
With a lot of money coming from distributors and alcohol companies.
I mean, when you're talking big tobacco, alcohol, and firearms, those three lobbyists group, and they have to be.
Yeah.
If they didn't, they would get steamrolled by the other side. But to Doug's point, and he was being really modest and trying to be nice, his bourbon and his vodka isn't the cheap stuff that you just take shooters with. So that's a vodka that straight up wasn't being sold because people were going to the gas station and just buying the stuff in a plastic bottle.
Yeah.
So he was taking it two ways. Not only were people not going to those restaurants and ordering the drinks with his vodka or his bourbon, they also were not going to how you'd make it back up, the take-home sales, the take-out sales. That wasn't his style of vodka.
Didn't he say eventually he had to make bigger
Yes.
bottles? Because
yeah.
people were like, "Oh shit, we're stuck at home."
Right.
Well, what he
I
said
gotta
was
get
that so that was
My
the
kids are here.
that was the effect, was that people were, which is one of the things that we're talking about here today, is that people were starting to cook more at home, make more meals, try to hit the grocery store less often.
Yeah.
So that's where he saw the movement in the big bottles, because
yeah.
he felt like people weren't, coming to the stores often, so they were planning for, a couple of weeks or whatever. But that's that one's a really interesting episode that we did with Doug, talking about his business and the liquor business and so on and so forth. But
yeah. But speaking of planning, though, so when we're talking about, meals and things, does your household, do you guys plan meals? Or does Ashley, I guess I feel
Ashley
like we've gone in waves.
Yeah, Ashley does a heck of a job of that, and she does a really good job of cooking, I would say at least 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay.
But our crazy life works. I'll get a text around 11 o'clock or noon, maybe even sometimes 2 in the afternoon. Hey, what do you want to do for dinner? Should we do this? Should we do that? I got this in the freezer, that in the freezer. Take this out, take that out of the freezer. So I would say it's a process that starts every day at about 10 a.m. Like, what are we going to do for supper today? And since we are big hunters and we always have a freezer full of venison and we're always grinding up hamburger and this and that, our own burger, we have a lot of options to go with.
Okay.
So
it kind of sounds like us in a way. I feel like that conversation is very much initiated by you. Andy, I don't love to cook.
Okay.
I'll do it. I can follow a recipe really well. It's right in front of you. How can you mess up?
Yeah.
This one
that's
over
my
here
cooking.
to my left is like Master Chef.
no, not
Yes,
even
you
close to a
are.
master chef.
He just
a pit
throws
master.
shit together. It's so good. I think it came from his mom, right? From the South, always cooking. But we have a ton of meat too, I would say. But I think our hiccup is who's going to be home, right? Because we have older kids.
Uh-huh.
Who's going to be eating? Do we have sports tonight?
Yeah,
and then just depending on the meal, do we have time? Like today, you kind of wanted to bust out the smoker. It's a Saturday. We don't have a ton of stuff. We got a little more time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like that's probably very true for a lot of people.
Right.
If both sides are involved
Yeah.
in it, otherwise I do have friends that and even back in the day when you had a different job, I actually had a calendar and it was all mapped out. I'd go to the store a couple times a week. No, I'm sorry. Like once every 2 weeks, have meals planned out. We'd have
Wow.
even a leftover meal.
Wow.
But the kids were young.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
You had more of a routine.
So I did
There
cook
wasn't
more.
baseball. There wasn't cheerleading. There wasn't
Yeah.
soccer.
We're all home
Mm-hmm.
at a certain time. I don't know. It's interesting to me how people do it and what they do.
And that dining out versus cooking at home, a lot of that comes out of necessity because,
Yeah.
money for one, it's expensive as hell if you're going to eat out all the time.
Mm-hmm. Restaurants not being open at all. So like that, you saw a crazy spike, like overnight, virtually no dining out, a couple of years ago, to everyone attempting to cook at home or, doing their own thing, trying to figure it out. So a lot of the numbers, the raw data, it's not true data. You know what I mean? That would have organically just kept happening. Like what you were saying, Morgan, there was a trend that was happening. It was more people were going towards fast food. Then a health craze kind of cropped back up in the 2010, 2000. So then you saw it go back down, and you straight up saw fast foods. And that was another good podcast that we talked about, meat versus real meat.
Yeah.
They right away tried to answer that. So you had McDonald's try to do salads. You have Burger King trying to do an Impossible Burger right now. And I feel like it's just putting lipstick on a pig, isn't it? Like you're trying to say I'm eating healthy, but I'm driving through McDonald's. Give me a break.
Yeah.
No way.
Come on. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to talk a little bit more about is what do the numbers say in what Americans are doing? So the dining out versus, the carry out or the eating at home or whatever.
So I just pulled this up off of morningconsultant.com, and it's return to dining, and it's real-time data about tracking the number of people that are getting back out to dining, and those last updated just about a month ago. So this is pretty current stuff here. And let's see, back in May of last year,
Okay.
you only had about 20% of people that felt safe or were dining out. Fast forward to March, right around now, or the last time this was done, you have over 70% pretty much across the board. Generation Z, they break it down to millennials, boomers, everybody's sitting at 70% or higher as far as they're comfortable returning to go back out to restaurants. Meaning, I mean, that's a direct correlation. Then people are.
That's eating in and getting takeout. Just
that's
restaurant
going
food.
that's going to the restaurant and sitting down and eating.
Okay.
To where, I mean, even less than a year ago, it was down to only 20% of the people that used to go to restaurants still were.
Jeez.
And then fast forward, what is this, 8 or 9 months? Now it's up to 70%. So that all has to do with, once again, regulation changing and people, and it's not even true with the 70%. I don't think 75, one of these is baby boomers at 75% a month ago eating out. I don't think you would have saw that type of a spike had it not been taken away for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Then the doors open, so everyone's rushing back to it.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
So,
okay.
I mean, I don't know how good these numbers really are, but it's showing you that people do want to get back out. People do want to sit down, have a drink, enjoy a meal with their friends and family, at a restaurant.
Yeah.
If they're allowed to. I think how our Americans are dining out, this might be a more true breakdown. And this is just talking about, do they order delivery? Do they do takeout? Do they dine in? And let's see here. Multiple times a week, dine in a restaurant, only 10% of the population do that.
I think that comes down to time, right? I mean, really.
Time and money, right? It's
expensive. Money for sure. Do you think people budget for eating out? Do you guys?
I think some people do.
Okay, because we don't.
we
back probably should.
Years ago, when the kids were much younger and all that, we did have kind of like a laid out budget.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
did have a section where it was okay. We've got this much we can spend on going out if we want to.
You're right.
Okay.
We did. Okay.
See, Ashley and I need to get better at that, but we have kind of a routine though. So Fridays after school, that's when we go we figure out a new local restaurant to take everybody to.
Oh, sweet.
So that's like our routine, and then once a week, if we're good, we will drive through Burger King on the way back and everyone will get their slushie or whatever.
Okay.
But it's a once a week deal. So I guess that's kind of budgeting.
I think so.
But we don't have any real good numbers on it. So less than 3% of the population dine out multiple times a day.
A day?
A day. So that means 3% of people are dining out for lunch and dinner or supper. But that's also 3% dine in once a day. This is the population. 10% multiple times a week. So it's still a very low number.
Do gas station burgers count as dine-in, Ben?
Don't
in between
think so.
Driving from farms to
All
farms?
I know is they're good.
So 15% never dine in. That's all ages across the board. 15% never dine in a restaurant. So that's pretty wild.
Some of those numbers you're going through, some of the things that I've seen online here too, it's definitely not what I would have expected. I expected it to be way higher. Like this, one of the things that I looked up here on this business website says that on average people are spending $3,000 a year on dining out. I would have expected it to be way more than that.
Oh God! I mean, you can't even go. We go to Chick-fil-A, and now all the
$50.
kids,
That's $50.
They all have adult meals.
Yeah.
We don't do kids meals anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Ashley really likes McDonald's chicken nuggets. Those are her favorite.
They're good.
She's picky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Burger King's not up to standards.
Yeah. But I think the 6-piece value meal was it was almost $10.
It's
almost
crazy.
$10.
So 3,000. That's what that website says. Yeah, I would think that would be more a year.
It wouldn't take you long to hit that. So that's going into that 15% never eat out, 19% less than once a month. But here's a big chunk of people. Order takeout from a restaurant. 20% of the population do that multiple times a month. So 2 or 3 times people are swinging through and getting takeout.
Taking it out.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you're starting to see. And that might have been spearheaded, by the pandemic. People just got in that routine. We're doing takeout. So you had the people that were already doing takeout, and then you had a whole nother population or group of people that were more your traditional dine-in, and then decide, you know what, I kind of like the takeout deal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I don't think that $3,000 number that I found, I think it's specifically dining out. So I don't think that includes takeout.
Mm-hmm.
And I think takeout has become a much larger portion of it, to your point.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the biggest demographic looking at these bar charts is that 20% order takeout multiple times per month.
Just 2 weeks ago, when I was traveling a ton with our daughter for cheer, I downloaded the Uber Eats app for the first time.
Right on.
I signed up, so then you didn't have to pay for each delivery. You get like the first 30 days for free.
Oh God,
I'm
we've got
gonna cancel
another subscription.
No. I have an alarm set on my phone for the day that I need to cancel it, the day before.
Wow. Nice.
I'm trying to be organized here. It was only $10.
Yeah. They'll get you, though,
Anyways,
won't they?
so we did it a few times. I'm telling you, it was damn convenient.
Right.
It was good.
Oh, yeah.
It was
that's
easy.
That's what it's all become about. I mean, I think that was the rise of the fast food stores because it's just about convenience.
Yeah.
And now the next thing is this carry out or this on-demand delivery, whoever the company is that you're using. And I think I don't like it. I don't like the takeout idea. I don't like the food delivery idea. I think there's a time and place for it. I think you're going to have certain scenarios like, you got a sporting event or whatever that just you have to make it work. You got to eat. But I think it's taking away from what to me is a big part of eating, and that's the experience.
Right. Enjoying your
I
food,
agree.
enjoying the company.
Yeah, and when you go to a restaurant, and I guess it's just because that's how we were brought up. Like we were basically taught that to go to a restaurant and go eat was there was a special event.
Yes, it's a treat.
So
you're wearing your collared shirt.
Yeah, so the food was good. I mean, it'd be something different than what we were used to eating at home, and that was great. But it was the whole thing. Going to the restaurant, meeting the restaurant owner or the waiter or the waitress, and just the whole experience.
Right.
And people aren't getting that if they're doing all this takeout and Uber deliveries and whatever.
And one of the big reasons our kids are younger that we wanted to kind of make that a thing every Friday was to just normalize them out in a public setting. Like you need to mind your P's and Q's. You need to say please and thank you. You need to stay seated. And a lot of that stuff's being taken away, to your point, with this takeout stuff. And that's why I think you're seeing kids that aren't so well acclimated to being in a public setting, because that's being really shifted away from. And this is interesting too. So 20% do takeout multiple times a month. The next two biggest segments here is 19% do takeout once a week, 14% do takeout multiple times a week. So I mean, if you really dive into that, takeout is the new big trend.
I agree with what you guys are saying and what you're saying, Ben, for sure. I guess I was thinking it was cool for the setting that we had to use it for, because we were stuck in a hotel.
Yeah.
You know, it serves its purpose.
Yeah.
But if we're all going to turn into Wallies, like just sitting at home, ordering.
Yeah, just in your own little world, watching your streaming service and the shows that they're feeding you that they know you're going to want to see more of. Yeah, you're really losing just the experience of life.
And I agree.
I don't want to get too deep.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean that experience and what you said I wasn't even thinking about, but totally agree. Getting that experience for the kids and teaching them.
Yeah, that was a big part of why we do that.
This is how you behave.
It is.
And we did that. Do you make your kids order? Because we would make our kids order.
I'm making Ozzy say please and thank you and address address the waitress, look her in the eye, like all that stuff. I think is so important, just to build confidence too, and to understand how to talk to people. And it's shocking to me when a waitress or the teller at Target or Walmart goes, "Wow, your little boy, he's so outspoken." I'm like, "No, he's not. He is." He's like, we have to pull this stuff out of him. But that leaves me thinking that there's so many other kids out there that are, not as well off our Ozzy, or trying to people. And I just think it's something people don't think about. I'm not saying that we're great parents. We're not. We're just trying to get by and trying to, raise, good kids, good people. But just by not going out and dining out, you're losing out on that, to your point. And when you were talking there, Ben, you actually tripped one of my other triggers, and we got into it just a little bit with that meat versus real meat, synthetic meat, soybean meat, whatever you want to call it. And that's the part of it where you're losing sight that this burger is a cow. Something had to die for you to eat this burger. And the appreciation is totally lost. You don't think about it. You don't have to even face it when you just drive through McDonald's and slam that cheeseburger, or Uber Eats brings you whatever from Whataburger. All that gets lost when we do this takeout culture or this delivery culture that's really taken over. And I think it blends into that. And I hate getting so deep here, but this entitlement thing where, I don't have to think about where this burger came from. I'm hungry. Just put it in my face right now. Someone bring it to me. Yeah. And we just feel like that's like we're owed that. No, just think about what went into make a burger. There's a feedlot in Wisner, Nebraska that those cows had to go to after an actual rancher raised that calf from a cow that was born in February, and then it had to get to its 300-pound weight as a calf, weaned off, then sent to, like, so many people had to make that happen so you could sit down and enjoy that burger.
Damn, you are passionate about this.
Yeah, well, it's, being from Nebraska, it's our livelihood.
And I think to that point too, I think that's why most people started a restaurant. Like, if you go to most of these restaurants, especially in these small towns, that person started that restaurant because they want to bring you that experience.
Yeah.
And they want to share that with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they want to see you enjoy it.
Right.
And appreciate it. So when all these restaurants were forced to close their dining rooms, and then people started getting to like, oh yeah, well, I just want to do takeout all the time now, even though they're back open.
It's like, well, yes, it is more convenient.
I just don't like it.
Yeah.
And the other thing too I don't like is the majority of the time when we take out, the food it's not that good by the time you get home.
Right.
You enjoy it way more if you sit there and eat it at the restaurant.
Yeah, of course.
Hot, fresh.
I mean, you can't take like French fries from your hometown restaurant home. By the time they get home, they blow. If you eat them at the restaurant, they're great, kind of thing. So I don't know. It's just, to me, the whole thing just feels like a waste. I mean, if you're getting like pizza as an example, sure. I mean, get pizza delivered, carry pizza out, whatever. That's pizza. You can't go wrong with it. But a true meal, that people are just getting in styrofoam boxes and taking them home. I just don't dig it.
Oh, and just think about like Italian restaurants. I mean, the whole base is, family getting together, going out. It's a reward to be able to and how many movies are just based? There's always that one scene where the whole family's at this big old Italian restaurant, and they're all ordering different things, and there's good, like, that's all just it's escaping the American culture right now. And you hate to see it. And there's a lot of jobs being lost due to that. And I feel it feeds into the entitlement thing.
Yeah.
We don't have to face the fact that so much had to go into bringing you that food. It's just there.
When you talked about the restaurant owners wanting people to come in so they can see you eat it and see you being entertained, isn't that kind of why you like cooking? Like, you want to see us enjoy it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and
I'm terrible at it too, Morgan. I am terrible.
Cooking,
yeah.
There's always that, they're not going to really like it. And so, and you're great at just eating. I don't make horrible things. I mean, come on, I can make spaghetti, tacos, all the stuff, but nothing super gourmet. So then there's that, they might not like it. And then you start getting to yourself, talking to yourself. But when you just said that about at a restaurant, that's kind of why people start.
Yeah.
And the owners,
I'm really bad at it too, Morgan.
You are?
And something that I want to get better at is to start using, we have a Big Green Egg, the old ceramic smoker, one of the originals. I want to get a lot better at that. And the biggest part for me is to invite people over. Like, it's fun. Like, let's get couples over, you guys over, my friends from, the next town over. But the cooking is kind of the driver. It's the reason. But what you're really, the biggest part of that is the camaraderie, meeting up with old friends, all that stuff.
Standing around, drinking,
Yes.
just chatting outside.
Like the food brings you together, and
Yes.
it is the knot, right? But everything that comes with that is the important stuff.
Yeah.
You know, even last night, it was Friday, so we ate out, you know.
Where'd you guys go? Anywhere new?
Yeah,
Or
no,
Okay.
just kind of our go-to,
Yeah.
you know. But one of my best friends from college was taking his little sister out for dinner. They met up for the first time in a long time, and we just accidentally bumped into each other and had a great conversation, exchanged phone numbers because we fell out, you know. But it was like we hadn't skipped a beat, you know. We hugged it out and everything. But we never would have crossed paths had we not been going out to eat,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, if you would have done takeout,
Yeah,
wouldn't have seen 'em.
now we've already shot messages back and forth, and we're figuring out a way to, you know, get him on the lake here and go fishing because he loves to fish and he's always in the area. Like that never would have happened
Yeah.
had we not gone out to eat at our favorite little diner.
You could have easily just went and spent the exact same amount of money at that place and grabbed styrofoam boxes and taken it home.
Yep, and I never would have saw Jason.
Yeah.
I never would have bumped into him.
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
But there-
and
there
now we
is
already
its-
have plans to go fishing here in about a month or so.
Sweet.
Yeah, that experience that comes from those and what you're talking about too, you know, in making those meals at home, having those family meals. I mean, I don't think anybody can argue what the benefit of that is.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah, being around the table.
And kids get to bring their
Chatting.
friends over, you know, and they get to play ball, play basketball in the driveway. All those things. All
Yeah.
those things matter.
And if people are going to do, you know, takeout or Uber delivery or whatever it is and sit down and have a family meal with that, I think that's a decent way of doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, at
Oh,
least
yeah.
it still gets you together.
I want to be clear. I don't know what's right and wrong, and I
Yeah,
feel like
I mean,
I've been
none
on
of
this
us.
soapbox, and that's not how I want to come across. It really isn't. I'm just trying to share what my perspective and how I'm seeing things go down, and what we're trying to do to not combat that, but just pave our own path, you know.
Yeah.
And really, it's more about just kind of staying the same, which I don't know if that's the best way to go about it, but I think we're making a pretty good case for a few of these points.
And yeah, and a lot of it has to do with how you were brought up. I mean, that was how we were brought up. I mean, we always ate at home.
That's
you
what I
know,
hope doesn't get missed.
Yeah, and you go back to even like, you know, my grandparents. I mean, my grandma, all the lady did was cook. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
from the time she got up to the time she went to bed, we go down to, excuse me, we'd go down to Georgia to visit family. And literally, like, it was such a eye-opening experience for me as a kid, and old school. You know, a lot of people wouldn't like this, but the women in the morning would start cooking breakfast.
Yes.
And the guys would go out and we would be doing something, whatever it was, yard
lifting
work.
heavy
or,
things, pushing,
Yeah.
pushing a mower,
Yeah,
Right.
grunting. And,
chopping wood.
Yeah, flexing and stuff.
Acting like your work.
So
Yes.
they would literally cook the biggest breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'd come in and eat breakfast, and then as soon as that was over, they would start preparing lunch. So then we'd go out and we would do whatever else it was we were doing.
Right. Yep.
Then it's lunchtime, and it was the biggest lunch, and you're still full from breakfast.
Yeah.
And then when that was over, it was literally straight to dinner. They'd start preparing dinner.
Yeah.
It was the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, but it was, you know, a lot of people would talk trash about that, you know, oh, well, you know, why do the women have to do this and so on and so forth.
Putting women in their place,
But,
putting
yeah.
them in the kitchen.
But it was literally what they loved doing.
They found enjoyment doing that.
Yeah, it wasn't like they were doing it because they had to. They were doing it because they wanted to. And then for me, as a young boy, it exposed me to that and got me interested in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what became, you know, my enjoyment out of, you know, cooking
Right.
later in life for my family, you know.
Well, there's a couple big things there, you know, and there's this huge movement where, you know, women don't belong in the kitchen, and you almost feel sexist just talking about it. But there's not one single guy in that circle that you were talking about that was belittling or thought any less. In fact, the women doing that work were way more important than us dumb guys picking up heavy things. You know, it really, the women were the important part there. To make all of that work, you had to have strong women at home that wanted to make people happy, wanted to bring people together. And that's another thing, to your point, that kind of gets lost here and gets taken away. We catch flack for that at like Ashley all the time, because she cooks, she does the laundry, and I lift heavy things. I push the mower, all those.
Yeah.
We are so stereotypical. It's like, no, it works. She enjoys it. I'm terrible at cooking. What is wrong with our process? What is wrong with our way here?
Yeah.
And
I don't think anything is,
well,
right? But
we catch flack for it from all different angles.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Coworkers.
Oh, okay.
The whole 9 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not like you couldn't do laundry. I mean, how to, Andy.
Yeah. You put the liquid in the thing and you hit start.
What? Okay.
See, oh God, I'm bad. I'm so bad.
No, that's fun. I mean, I think give it a few more years. You're a little younger than us, but no, I mean, I get it. You do tons of the outside stuff, but I absolutely have no problem. I do it. Mow, not good with the weed eater.
Ashley has never mowed, and she has no intentions to.
Okay.
Ever. She doesn't want to do any of that outdoor work.
See, and I don't have a problem.
I don't have a problem doing it.
And that's the difference of what we're talking about. When you talk about food or what whoever's doing what role.
It doesn't matter.
If she didn't like cooking, and you were making her, if you were like, look, this is what you have to do because I'm out working all day and you have to get. Okay, that's a different story.
Yeah, that's true.
She
but
won't
it's
let
something
me
she
do the laundry.
enjoys.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. And not that I enjoy, riding the lawnmower or whatever, but I mean, that's just part of being whatever, the man of the household holding up your end of the bargain.
And
like,
that's,
take some responsibility, right?
Yeah.
There is. Yeah, there's those things that you're going to do. And we're kind of going off on
Yeah, we are. Sorry about that.
Yeah, because we were talking about food, but...
No, we're talking about mowing.
So to kind of dial it back here, here's a really fascinating point, talking about Uber Eats. And like everything is becoming more automated and in your face and quick, fast. And this goes back to the driving services that took, there's virtually no taxes anymore because of, Uber and what's the other one? Lyft. All those drivers out there that are doing a side hustle, that are being entrepreneurs. No, you're not. What they're actually doing is they're creating an algorithm for as soon as Google Drive or whatever comes out, they can just drive cars themselves, which that's already being done and being tested in places. All those drivers are doing is free labor to figure out best routes, how to do it, where to go to it about it. So you're actually giving yourself up a free service to tech mongers that are figuring out, okay, once we don't need these people to drive these cars, how are we going to pull this off? So all those things, Uber Eats, I mean, you already see it like with Domino's, they have that little car.
I was thinking that when you were talking about the car driving, you've seen that commercial.
Yeah. That's all going to start driving itself. And these people that are driving it, I'm not attacking them. They're making money, they're doing their thing, right?
Yeah.
But you're supplying a service there for a service that desperately wants to get rid of you.
So you think these numbers in the next year, you think they'll go up? You think all this
yes.
will go up? Okay.
It's too convenient not to.
Yeah.
It's too convenient not to. I mean, I think it's going to get to a point where I'm just scrolling through TikTok and TikTok's going to understand like, oh my God, he hasn't had a cheeseburger in over 45 minutes. Better slide that in there. So all he has to do is touch the screen and the cheeseburger will show up on my little Uber robot.
Again, back to the movie, WALL-E.
WALL-E.
No, I don't think it's WALL-E.
Yeah, it is.
Was it WALL-E?
Oh, wait. No, did I say that wrong?
Is it WALL-E?
No. What's the one where I think it is. They're all floating, big people.
I guess
on
it
little
is.
chairs.
I don't remember.
Well,
come on, you
okay,
got little kids.
I do. So then that's a good movie. And yeah, people just got really, really fat.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're like, oh, push a button.
Yes.
It's on my chair.
Yep.
Deliver.
And your automation systems took that away. So like the basis of it, the planet got so polluted, the top 1 million people got put on a spaceship and shot out, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that is that movie.
But that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking of. Like
Yeah.
cannot be.
It's all of this stuff is all driven off of convenience.
Yes. Yeah. And what are you willing to pay for it?
We are just
Yeah,
lazy
and
human
it's what
beings.
it's what people don't think about is the convenience side of it sounds cool. Like you said there, like my phone figured out I haven't had a cheeseburger and it gives me an ad and I can touch the button and it shows up.
Yep.
Cool, convenient, neat.
Boom.
But if
Now
you
I'm
really
fed.
step back and think about all of it and what we're missing out on, and what we're losing.
You're sacrificing the family for one, not spending time with your family because you got to get to here, get to there, or whatever. Have your food ordered so you could get back to watching Netflix. But then just a straight up life itself, the experience that you were talking about, Ben. Yeah, it's kind of like we wanted to talk about food and it got so much deeper so quick.
Yeah, it ties into so many things.
It really does.
I mean, it didn't
really
help
does.
when we started off with being hungover.
Yeah,
and
plus, I can't even barely think straight.
you were kind of quiet there for a minute. You didn't take that goodie?
No, I'm waiting.
Goodies.
Maybe
they should be a sponsor.
I was gonna say do the reader.
We'll call them.
We'll give them a heads up. Hey.
Our next pod is gonna just be off the wall and zany. See, goodies, it works.
Oh god.
Wait, let's see.
Are we done yet?
We're
I
almost
gotta go
we're almost done. There was one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and that was how much more people are, and I don't think we have any numbers on this, but just anecdotally of what we know, how much more people are cooking at home, and especially since this pandemic thing started, that's been probably the number one best thing.
Yep.
Agree.
Yep.
That came out of this negative situation.
There was a huge spike in that. A lot more people got into things like canning their foods and planning ahead, like you were talking about, for meals, because the restaurants and things of that nature were closed down. Even takeout was kind of gone there for a little bit when people were reeling, trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And Ben, I agree with you. There's a couple things, good things that really came out of the pandemic. It's just too bad that your news cycle, right? It wants to get clicks. It's trying to drive attention. So what we heard about was, all these men have to stay home and they're drinking and they're beating their wives. Well, that's a very small percentage. I'm not saying that domestic violence didn't go up. I mean, you're putting people, stuffing them in their apartments and giving them alcohol, right? Things are going to happen, okay? But probably a way bigger percentage that we don't want to talk about because it's not interesting, it's not fun, whatever. People did start cooking more. There was a lot more families getting together. There was time taken, with your sons and daughters and cooking and this and that, and time in the kitchen and time at the dinner table. But once again, that's not eye-catchy. That's not flashy.
Yeah.
We want to talk about violence. We want to talk about this and that. So.
Well, even us, I mean, we've always ate at home a lot, but we were kind of getting away from that family sit-down meal. We were still cooking, but people were just kind of like eating as they came through, which really isn't any better, but at least we were cooking. But we got back to that, to where we were having these scheduled meals, every night. And even as much as we cooked at home, we never owned a deep freeze, a separate deep freeze.
Yeah.
Like we had enough freezer room and like the garage freezer, the garage fridge and the kitchen fridge or whatever.
Right.
But then once we started trying to prepare for these things, we went and got a deep freeze, and that thing stays full, man. And then it gave us the ability to, which we've talked about on a couple of other podcasts, to source local meats and local produce and keep that in there and have those really good foods right at the tip of our fingers.
And I want to throw the experience to a whole nother level and throw something at you guys. Ashley and I have been talking about this. We're due to make a whole nother round of burger. We found a couple pork shoulders that were on quick sale, on sale. We threw them in the freezer, and we're ready to straight up throw a whole bunch of scrap venison that we have saved off Ashley's buck that she shot and mine, and we got all this pork that we like to add with it. So would you guys want to come over and make some burger with us?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I've never had what you were talking about, like
and that
venison
in itself,
burgers.
that's all of us,
That'd be fun.
in the kitchen figuring it out and coming away with some really healthy,
See,
as
that
far as
would be
burger
good
goes.
for me.
Yeah.
From like that's something we didn't talk about real quick is doing it all together. I love having people over.
Yeah,
And
we're a host family too.
My
We love
family growing up, or sometimes still, we'll go to, Christmas or whatever. The meal's totally ready. Like right when you walk in the door, it's kind of, hi, everyone sits down. And then hangs out afterwards. Where with your family, the difference was, and maybe it's a Southern thing, it just depends on where you're at. People would get together beforehand and cook together.
It's part of the process.
And I enjoy that. We do that with our friends. Maybe you have something going on the smoker, but sides are going to be prepared when they're standing around. I like seeing that. So to your point, I would like to come over
Let's
beforehand.
do it. We want you guys
kind
over.
of,
Yeah.
doing it together. I like that.
Part of it.
I'm a sucker for all those things like traditions. I just love it. Like, and I try not to get too jealous, because I love my upbringing, right? But like when you go hang out with the new family and, okay, this is when the guys step aside and go have a cigar and the women go gather over there and talk about the men or whatever you guys talk about. But it's like, this is cool. I'm on a back deck smoking cigars talking about this team and why they should have won or why they shouldn't have won, And, it's just neat to see those traditions. And I do think if there's one thing that COVID-19 kind of forced back into the fold are those traditions, because you were forced to. You couldn't go out, you couldn't do this, couldn't do that.
I still have was it a 10-pound bag of rice that we had?
Yeah, when that all first went down,
And beans, we have like
the beans and rice.
we got like the big bags of
it's still here.
dried goods or whatever.
Anyways,
it was. I mean, we still cook it. I mean, all the time.
It's not
It's great.
expired.
Heck yeah.
Anyways, we have went so many different directions with this.
I love it. No,
it's been good talks.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
talks.
and I think the moral of the story for me, I mean, you talked about some numbers and they're interesting numbers, but people have to understand, I think a lot of folks that will be listening to this probably are in the same arena anyway, but those family meals, that cooking, if you are going to go out and eat and enjoy it and have the experience. I mean, I'm not telling anybody what to do, but I'm just saying, like, that's where it's at.
Yeah, we are. We're telling you.
If anything, I think the awareness, right? There might be a little bit more of an uptick in the awareness since we kind of really put a bright spotlight on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, you take your goodies.
Yes, I'm going to. And take a nap.
Take a nap.
Gonna go home, I did take a shower. What am I talking about? I just didn't wash my face. Who takes a shower and doesn't wash their face?
We'll let you guys know when we get the meat grinder out. You guys can come on over.
Okay.
That's actually good for a hangover too. Smelling all that raw.
Oh,
meat.
yeah, there you go.
So, there we go.
I'm sure we'll be drinking, and then it will be the next day, Andy, that I'll need that.
We got your Sunday planned then.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sounds fun.
It was
All
nice,
right.
boys.
Yep.
Good chat.
Well, I think I've had enough.
Okay. Peace.
Later.
All right. See ya.